Bacteria are the oldest living organisms on the Earth. They've been here for billions of years, and what they are single-celled microscopic organisms. So they're one cell, and they have the special property that they only have one piece of DNA. So they have very few genes and genetic information to encode all of the traits that they carry out. And the way bacteria make a living is that they consume nutrients from the environment, they grow to twice their size, they cut themselves down in the middle, and one cell becomes two, and so on and so on. So they just grow and divide and grow and divide. So kind of boring life. And so what you're looking at on this slide is just a person from my lab holding a flask of a liquid culture of a bacterium, a harmless, beautiful bacterium that comes from the ocean named Vibrio fischeri. And this bacterium has the special property that it makes light. So it makes bioluminescence, like fireflies make light. So we're not doing anything to the cells here. We just took the picture by turning the lights off in the room, and this is what we see. Vibrio fischeri lives in this squid. What you're looking at is the Hawaiian bobtail squid, and it's been turned on its back. And what I hope you can see are these two glowing lobes, and these house the Vibrio fischeri cells. They live in there at high cell number. That molecule is there, and they're making light. And the reason the squid is willing to put up with these shenanigans is because it wants that light. And so the way that this symbiosis works is that this little squid lives just off the coast of Hawaii, so just in sort of shallow, knee-deep water. And the squid is nocturnal, so during the day it buries itself in the sand and sleeps. But then at night it has to come out to hunt. And so on bright nights when there's lots of starlight or moonlight, that light can penetrate the depth of the water the squid lives in, since it's just in those couple feet of water. And what the squid has developed is a shutter that can open and close over this specialized light organ housing the bacteria. And then it has detectors on its back, so it can sense how much starlight or moonlight is hitting its back, and it opens and closes the shutter, so the amount of light coming out of the bottom, which is made by the bacterium, exactly matches how much light hits the squid's back. So the squid doesn't make a shadow. So it actually uses the light from the bacteria to counter-illuminate itself in an anti-predation device. And so predators can't see its shadow, calculate its trajectory, and eat it. And so this is like the stealth bomber of the ocean. And what was actually interesting to us was not that the bacteria made light, but when the bacteria made light. What we noticed is when the bacteria were alone, so when they were in dilute suspension, they made no light. But when they grew to a certain cell number, all the bacteria turned on light simultaneously. And so the question that we had is, how can bacteria, these primitive organisms, tell the difference from times when they're alone and times when they're in a community, and then all do something together? And what we figured out is that the way that they do that is that they talk to each other, and they talk with a chemical language. So this is now supposed to be my bacterial cell. When it's alone, it doesn't make any light. But what it does do is to make and secrete small molecules that you can think of like hormones. And these are the red triangles. And when the bacteria is alone, the molecules just float away, and so no light. But when the bacteria grow and double, and they're all participating in making these molecules, the extracellular amount of that molecule increases in proportion to cell number. And when the molecule hits a certain amount that tells the bacteria how many neighbors they are, they recognize that molecule, and all of the bacteria turn on light in synchrony. And so that's how bioluminescence works. They're talking with these chemical words. We have found that this is not just some anomaly of this ridiculous glow-in-the-dark bacterium that lives in the ocean. All bacteria have systems like this. So now what we understand is that all bacteria can talk to each other. They make chemical words, they recognize those words, and they turn on group behaviors that are only successful when all of the cells participate in unison. And so now we have a fancy name for this. We call it quorum sensing. They vote with these chemical votes, the vote gets counted, and then everybody responds to the vote.